Happy AP Test Week, everybody, and welcome to AP Student News, where you get to learn important information regarding the classes offered by the United States College Board, how to study for them, and other important information you need to know to get that 5. Today we're going to be starting human geography. First up is our series on terms and definitions, beginning with possibilism. Possibilism is the idea that the physical landscape has an influence over human activities to an extent, but it is not the only determining factor, as humans are able to change and adapt to their environment to better overcome any difficulties it presents. Its opposite, environmental determinism, is the idea that the land has the greatest influence over human activities, and that humans cannot overcome any barriers that the land sets developmentally for humans themselves. Currently, possibilism is a lot more accepted by geographers due to current abilities to modify the environment using new methods and technology that are innovative and allow us to adapt better to our environment and overcome any barriers it may set. In today's segment, we're going to look at how possibilism has had a major impact on the development of modern society. Now, let's head over to Beth, our AP Student News reporter in the field, to see an example of possibilism at work in our society today.
This is Beth Allen reporting in the field, literally, for AP Student News. We look to nature to find new ways to support our society through new agricultural methods.
The human race managed to become larger by producing more food to provide for more people. A major barrier to this increased production was climate, but with new agricultural methods, such as irrigation, fertilizers, and GMOs, the population was able to overcome the barrier.
Generations of farmers have experimented with different crops, trying to find out which crop best fits their local physical geography. Obviously, farmers will want to plant things that will be successful in their environment. We can see this with climate as it plays a major role in the planting of crops. In order to overcome local physical geography, people may change their agricultural methods.
For example, rice is a crop that needs a lot of water and warm temperatures to thrive. Therefore, instead of being grown in an area with a dry climate, such as northern Africa, rice is grown primarily in the East and South Asia, where tropical and warm mid-latitude climates are well suited to the growth of rice. Wheat, unlike rice, is not successful in wet areas with high temperatures. Instead, it is grown best in areas with cooler climates that have relatively low soil moisture. These different climates allow different crops to thrive. Possibilism is related to agriculture through the use of the new agricultural methods to provide a larger output for the growing population. The growing of crops is related to possibilism because people can overcome the struggles of their environment, too dry, too wet, etc., and experiment with different crops until one that thrives in the local conditions is discovered. This allows farmers to benefit from the successes of their crops and further themselves developmentally.
Farmers use new irrigation methods to provide their plants with adequate supplies of water in areas without direct access to large bodies of water. This allows them to grow more successfully. In addition, fertilizers allow farmers to grow successful crops in areas without ideal soils.
Genetically modified organisms can help crops to better survive. GM seeds are much sturdier and have the best qualities of different crop species mixed together, making them much more successful in general despite the physical geography of the place in which they are grown.
This is Beth Allen reporting to you live for AP Student News. Back to you, Jessie.
Thank you for that wonderful example, Beth. Let's move on to our next one.
See if you can ID me. I was invented in 1902. My use grew largely in 1933. I aided in migration to the southern U.S. states. If you guessed air conditioning, you're correct.
Air conditioning. It's been around since the early 1900s and allows for a nice retreat on a toasty day. Without it, we most likely wouldn't have had such a high population in the southern United States. How is air conditioning connected to possibilism? The implementation of air conditioning systems allows people in society to overcome the environment, particularly the climate. Air conditioning has allowed for a lot of people to live in a place that typically isn't the most desirable due to its intense heat. With approximately 100 million residences in the United States being equipped with air conditioning and a near 20% increase in air conditioning since the early 1990s to the late 2000s, it's no wonder why air conditioning has become such a vital part of the American standard of living, especially within the South. The invention of air conditioning allowed for the population of the United States to overcome what many view as uncomfortably warm temperatures and therefore encouraged migration to the South. It made living in the southern United States much easier and much more appealing to possible residents because it allowed for a relief from the intense heat, therefore making it a much more pleasant location for possible migrants. Air conditioning, along with improved agricultural methods implemented within the United States, encouraged migration to the South despite the dry, warm climate, therefore making it an example of possibilism. And for our final example of possibilism, we look to the skies. Communication over a large land area has always been difficult, at least until the invention of the satellite telephone, which made communication much easier, especially over long distances. Global phone calls were almost always connected by wires, but with the increasing use of satellites and other innovative technology, communication became much more efficient. A person in France can call a person in Canada instead of having to travel months by boat or send a letter and wait a long time for a reply. Currently, distance has a much smaller effect on people's interactions because the telephone makes it less relevant in communications. People are able to use satellites and wires to connect in real time with another person who is far away, and all that the society needs to do is set up some wires and satellites, and the people also obviously need to have a telephone, and the people are allowed to communicate over sound waves. By changing the environment and adding cell phone towers, telephone wires, and other technology, people are able to communicate over large, hard-to-cross distances such as hills or mountains much easier, and they can communicate in real time instead of having to send letters or other similar types of messages like in the past. Overall, telephones connect to possibilism because people are able to change their environments in order to increase the efficiency of communication. Overall, possibilism is a very important geographical concept. It involves humans interacting with the land in order to further develop themselves. Possibilism allows us as humans to overcome our environment and further develop as a community and a species. For example, a person in the southern United States, due to possibilism, only plants crops and uses agricultural methods that fit the needs of their land. Also, the person most likely uses air conditioning systems to overcome the hot and humid climate, therefore allowing them to live more comfortably. They may also use a phone, allowing them to interact with people who live far away and the path to those other people is difficult to pass, such as hills or areas without many direct routes to reach the location, as efficiently and quickly as a telephone is able to.
Shout it out. Which theme of geography does possibilism fall under? A. Movement, B. Region, C. Human-environment interaction, D. Location, or E. Place. If you answered C, congratulations. Possibilism is an example of human-environment interaction as it involves people changing their physical environment in order to further develop themselves.
By changing agricultural methods and implementing new innovative technologies such as the satellite telephone and air conditioning, people are able to overcome the distinct environmental difficulties that their environment presents them with, therefore allowing them to develop. In the past, when it was much more difficult to overcome the environment, it was much more difficult to further develop or travel very far in the development continuum. In modern times, however, new technologies and methods are allowing us to overcome the natural environment of an area and still develop further. So how are you personally going to remember possibilism? Here's a quick tip from AP Student News. Remember that possibilism is the ability to adapt to the needs and the changes of the environment. Therefore, in the concept of possibilism, it is possible for you to overcome your physical environment and the challenge it presents you with. It is absolutely impossible for you to fail if you know the definition of possibilism, and the possibilities are endless if you study for your AP test. I'm Jessie Dable with AP Student News, and I'll see you next time.
Thanks for watching, and from all of us at AP Student News, good luck on your AP test.